pay me enough money to do as many times a night as you like. And that got we had a ridiculous situation at the time whereby you couldn't get a job in the business unless you were a member of the union, and you couldn't become a member of the union unless you got a job, unless you had a job. So it was a really silly situation. But I got
it's like the SGA here, the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah. So as I said, I showed them I could lift this guy up and do the part. Got 3 weeks, and my membership of the Actors Union, I became a member of the Actors Union.
Excellent.
And everything sort of snowballed from then on. Yeah.
Mr. Perkins, you have a question?
Certainly, sir.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I was wondering your take on this. One of the things I love about Star Wars, some of the characters, is the incorporation of different elements that make up the story, the saga. You've got mythology, European mythology. Okay, you've got Eastern, Asian mythology, philosophy. With the character of Darth Vader, you've got, it looks like on the outside, the facade is almost like almost similar to a samurai, the armor. Right. It's closer to that armor versus a Western, a knight. Yeah. But then again, you've got the Black Knight, in a sense. There's a lot of Arthurian elements, the magic sword, Excalibur. There's the lightsaber. Excuse me, the wise old wizard Merlin is Ben Kenobi. The father-son relationship, Arthur and Mordred, is kind of reversed in Darth Vader and Luke. And in your case, the good guy is the young one, and the bad guy is the father. Arthur and Mordred, it's the opposite. Arthur's the father, he's good. One of the influences I read many years ago on George Lucas was Marvel Comics and the character of Doctor Doom. You familiar with Doctor Doom? No? Okay. I think he might be an inspiration for the character, just the whole look.
Are you comparing Doctor Doom to Darth Vader?
Doctor Doom! I argue Doctor Doom is a greater villain than Darth Vader.
Doctor Doom fights the Fantastic
In the comics, not in the movies. Not in the movies. I think Vader is... Okay, watch out.
Anyways,
no, I think that Vader was inspired in a lot of ways by Doom, and I didn't know if maybe you had some.
Maybe Doctor Doom inspired George. I mean, George is the man who had the.
If I have to interject,
did you have any insight into that?
There's a lot of literature and history where villains are created by good people who have been disfigured, injured, hurt, like the Phantom of the Opera.
Right.
Like funny feet.
With funny feet, like the Phantom of the Opera, like Dr. Doom. What's his name? Eric, you know this thing.
What?
Dr. Doom's Victor Von Doom. Victor Von Doom.
Yeah.
So I can't believe you said that. I cannot believe
living on the edge.
We're going to open the audience. You, sir.
As a child growing up in England in the 70s, I remember you as the Green Cross Coat Man.
That's all I've ever had.
And how did you get the part? And how did you get the
we're talking about the job I had from 1976 right through until 90, so 14 years, as the figurehead of the British government's Child Pedestrian Road Safety Campaign. In 1976, the road accident figures in Great Britain for children in the 4 to 11-year-old age group were running ridiculously high. It was about 40,000 children a year getting knocked down, injured, and killed on the roads in Great Britain. And as luck for me, I'm a very, very fortunate situation for me, in as much that I had an agent called Penny Harrison at the time, and her husband worked for the agency who handled the what we call Central Office of Information, government commercials and things like this. And he said to his wife one day, he said we've got the brief to launch a new road safety campaign for children, and we need somebody to play this like Superman character. And he said, you think your client Dave Prowse would be interested in doing it? He said. And so they rang me up and said, how do you feel about doing it? Well, I had 3 children. Still got 3 children. I had 3 children. I had 3 young children at the time. And I said, yeah, anything I can do to help with the road safety campaign, I'll give it 2 ways to do it. And so the next thing I know, I get offered the job properly, and we started the campaign, where we did three television commercials a year, based on various aspects of road safety. And then the commercials were obviously very, very successful. And the Department of Transport, which is a government body, turned around to me and they said, well, how would you like to go around the schools and give talks to children in schools? And so from 1976 was Star Wars year, so I didn't do much as far as the going to schools in '76. But from '77 onwards, I virtually did nothing else about go around the schools. I used to do 3 schools a day. We used to do 2 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. Do a 3/4 of an hour show, and all based on the Green Cross Code, which says first find a safe place to cross, then stop. Stand near the curb, not on it. Look all around for traffic, and if traffic is coming, let it pass. If there is no traffic coming, walk straight up across the road, but look and listen as you cross. And if you can't remember all that, you only got 4 words to remember. Stop, look, listen, and think. And that's what every child in Great Britain learns. And I was responsible for, as I said, go around the schools and inducting children into the Green Cross Code. And I said, what happened was, I did it for 14 years, and from 80 to 90, it was virtually nothing else but Green Cross Code work. And at the end of the campaign, we'd actually halved the road accident figures in Great Britain from when we went down from over 40,000 a year down to less than 20,000 a year. And in the year 2000, I was honoured by the Queen with an MBE, which is a member of the Order of the British Empire, for services to road safety and charity. Yeah, in the green. Yeah, the gentleman in the green shirt.
I have a simple question. At the end of Return of the Jedi, when Mark Hamill removed Darth Vader's mask and exposed Anakin Skywalker, is there any reason, or was it offered to you why you couldn't stay in the costume, why they had to replace the actor with that role? Like, would you have done it if offered?
Yeah. Sebastian Shaw. Sebastian Shaw. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
That would have been cool.
This what happened there. I'll tell you. Okay. This really pissed me off. Excuse me. What happened was Alec Guinness was obviously one of the major actors in the world at the time. He had a very, very good friend called Sebastian Shaw, and Sebastian Shaw had been out of work a long time. I think he was going through a very, very bad patch.
Okay.
And so he said to Sir Alec Guinness, he said, can you do me a favour? He said, is there any chance you can get me a small part in this film we're doing? And Alex said, well, yeah, I'll have a chat with George Lucas. And George Lucas said, well, the only thing we've got is he could play the dying, because he was an old man. He said he could play the dying Darth Vader, and that was it. I knew nothing about it at all until way after. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think, and the principle, even though Anakin was supposed to be, Vader was supposed to be like 45, 50 years old, they wanted him to be aged because all that had gone through.
Yeah.
Hang on, all right, Batman.
Hi. Mr. Prowse, when you got the role as a creature in Horror Frankenstein, were you disappointed that you weren't going to work with Peter Cushing? And granted, later on you got to, so are there any anecdotes with Peter Cushing?
Well, in the Horror Frankenstein was directed by a guy called Jimmy Sangster. And I think Jimmy Sangster just wanted to have a lot of fun with the character, with the genre, the whole thing was a bit jokey. I enjoyed the movie, but it wasn't a very serious movie. And then we had a much better one. Vampire Circus I thought was a great movie. And then even better than that was Monster from Hell. And then of course we had a very, very good director. One of the doyens of Hammer films. And I think honestly, the Vampire Circus and Monster from Hell were 2 of the very best Hammer horror movies. I feel very proud, to have done them actually. Especially, I think, well, but the monster in I don't know whether how many times you've seen it. But
I just did a marathon this week.
Whenever I watch it, I always think. just feel so sorry for the creature, for the monster, especially the bit where he sort of comes to in his cell, and he's been given the hands of the violinist, and he comes to in the cell, and he sort of sits up, and he's sort of drugged, and he sees the violin by the side of his bunk, and he picks the violin up and looks at it, and suddenly and obviously realizes that it was his violin, and he was the violinist. He scrunches it all out and throws it all over everyone. I could cry for him, like, it's a very, very, very,
Batman?
Yes, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your experience working with Peter Cushing.
Well, Peter Cushing, I only really worked with I worked with him on Empire, on the Star Wars movie, but I also worked with him on this film Monster of Hell, and he was a lovely guy. He was really very, very, very easy to work with, very, very understanding, and very caring about not wanting to put anybody out, as it were. You know, he's like he used to smoke a lot, and he's always smoking. So to save him having to not have his hands made up because they're all nicotine stained, they used to wear white gloves all the time when he was smoking. Yeah, so the makeup people wouldn't have any trouble with his hands. And, but he was lovely, lovely, lovely man. I used to go towards the end of his life. I used to go down to his house down in near Margate, and go down and see him, spend some time with him. You know, he was really a lovely, lovely man. Yeah, I liked him.
Okay, next question. You
Show
said
him in the green. He's been putting his hand in there for ages. Come on.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You had spoken earlier talking about the character that you did. You helped create Superman. I mean, you trained Christopher Reeve, if I remember correctly.
Very sad story, that was. Yeah.
And who else did you, the other celebrities you were trained at that time?
I trained Daniel Day-Lewis with Last of the Mohicans, trained Vanessa Redgrave, trained, well, Christopher Reeve was obviously my main. I have 3 gymnasiums in London, and I also had an exercise consultancy in Harrods as well, and which is the #1 store in the world right now. I do, about Harrods, but I had an exercise consultancy in there, I had a very nice gymnasium in Grosvenor House in Park Lane, which is one of the best roads in London, like, it's a beautiful hotel, and I trained. Mr. Reeve used to come in there and train with me. I trained, quite a few other interesting people in there as well, because it was one of these places where, lots of personalities come and stay at the hotel. And you would go down you would go into the gym, like, and see somebody down there that you've never seen before, and sort of named personalities. So, and Harrods was a great place for meeting people as well. I'll tell you a great story actually. In Harrods, Harrods has a big department store, and I used to have what we call a keep trim shop, which is an selling exercise equipment. And when I wasn't selling exercise equipment, I used to muck in with the rest of the guys who were serving as assistants in the store, like, and we just stand around chatting and waiting for something to happen. And then one day I'm there. I got there. Two interesting experiences there. One day I was there, and I'm looking across the room. It's quite big, but I mean, the sports department is about the size of this room. It's about twice the size of this room. And I'm on this side, and I'm looking across right down to the end of the room. And I can see this great big man there, and he's running around in what they call stalls, it's like shelves. And I turned around to one of the guys I was talking to, one of the assistants, and I said, do you see that? It's down there. And he said, no, who is it? He says, John Wayne. I says, John Wayne down there. He said, it's not. He said, not John Wayne. I said, yes, it's John Wayne. I said, I'm going to go down and have a chat. So I went down, I said, and it was John Wayne, obviously. And I went down, he's got this huge, great overcoat on. He goes right down to the floor, like, and he looks enormous. And I said, excuse me, Mr. Wayne. I said, can I help you at all? And he said, yes, you can actually. He said, I'm looking for a rope ladder. I said, a rope ladder? I said, we don't sell rope ladders in Harrods, you see. And he said, well, have you got such a thing as a long coil of rope? And I said, well, no, I said, you want a mountaineering shop? There's a mountaineering shop just down the road. I said, if you don't mind me asking you, I said, what do you want a road ladder for? I won't use the bad language he said, but I'll tell you, every other word was F in this and F in that. So I said to him, what does he want a road ladder for? And he said, well, he said I'd come over from America to do the film Brannigan. He said they put me in this hotel up in Park Lane. He said I look out of the windows and he said and there's nothing but bars. He said there's bars all across all the windows. He said I walk out in the corridor. He said and all the windows in the corridor have got bars all over the windows. He said I'm frightened to death of the place catching fire. So I said, well, no, I said, what you must do, he said, you have to go to the mountaineering shop and try and get some, but no, I don't think anything ever happened.
Well, he finished filming Brannigan. I've seen him. So Darth Vader's met the Duke.
Yeah, met the Duke.
I'm like,
What year was this?
I don't remember exactly what.
Brannigan came out, it was like one of his last movies, it was like 74.
So,
74.
Oh, and then another story. I'm in the department again. And there's a guy, and he's rummaging through the archery department. Yeah. And of course, none of the other assistants are bothering to go and talk to him, this guy. So I go over and I say, excuse me, sir, can I help you? And he says, well, yes, you can, actually. I said, I'm looking for some archery equipment for my grandchildren. I thought, I recognize that voice. Definitely recognize that voice. And I said, well, how old are the children? How old are the grandchildren? He sort of gave me the ages of the children, or roughly the size of the children. And I don't know anything about archery at all. I said, well, first thing you're going to need bows and arrows. So I said, you need bows of a certain size, and your arrows will have to be a certain length, and so on and so forth. Then, of course, you're going to need a target, and you're going to need something to put the target on. And he said, oh, that's absolutely marvelous. He said, you've been very, very helpful. And he said, I said, well, and he selected what he wanted. He said, and he gave me his charge card. And I look at his charge card, and it says Richard Green. Who was Robin Hood, who was a miserable. I turned around to him, I said, you must think you're right twit. I said, here I am selling bows and arrows to Robin Hood. And he said, you've been absolutely excellent. He said, I want everything you suggested I buy. Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Rich? Ask the question.
Dave, thank you so much for coming to Boston. It's
been
fantastic to have you.
Nice.
You are pretty much by far the busiest of true Star Wars actors who attend any conventions around the world. You are the top. You do more appearances than anyone else. How did you get into the conventions, and did another actor bring you in to get you a start? I don't know how you got involved.
Well, you started the Man Behind the Helmet tour.
Behind the mask.
Man Behind the Mask.
Yeah, I think that was probably it. It was years ago. There was a couple who used to live in Florida, and they decided to start up a Men Behind the Mask tour, and got in touch with myself and Jeremy and a few other people from the film, lots of stormtroopers, and we started doing conventions around the place, and everything sort of snowballed from there on. Yeah. But that was how it started, and then of course you start by doing like an organized tour, and then other people get to know that you're on the scene, and they start organizing shows themselves, and you get invited to do them. And now if I wanted to be, I can be somewhere different in the world every weekend. It is absolutely incredible. I mean, this week we're here. Last week I was in Copenhagen. The week before that I was in Detroit. The week before that I was in Dallas. Next weekend is Utrecht, just outside of Amsterdam. I just went down in Stockholm before Christmas. So it goes on. And next year is already. I've been asked to do Australia, New Zealand, all over. I've moved back to America lots of times.
Oh, what,
It's wonderful. I love it, to be honest.
Yeah, we love having you, and, one final thought, I was in England a couple years ago, and I saw an interview you did on one of BBC or something like that. You said, you do these conventions, you come up, and everyone comes up to you and says, it's an honor to meet you. And your response to that interview was, how do you respond to that? Yes, yes it is. And it's hard to say it, so I just wanted to say,
Go on.
no, but I just wanted to say that, in all my years of interviewing Star Wars artists, actors and so forth, I have to say it is indeed an honor to meet you. And I'm so glad you came here. And I'm so glad to host you.
Let's take her up there.
Mr. Prowse will be upstairs if anyone wants to come by and say hello to him.